You know, something else that people are going to look to you guys for is as far as there's a lot of social issues popping right around now. Cops are shooting down unarmed black men left, right, and center, seeing no consequences.
Yeah.
You guys are an interracial group.
Yeah.
Second, childhood friends first.
Yeah.
That dynamic has got to be crazy when it comes time for dealing with stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, we think we have a unique perspective because we're from Philly, but we're from different neighborhoods. We grew up different. Like, I'm not from as bad of a neighborhood as he is. So we had different perspectives on shit. So when all this stuff has been happening the past couple years, more recently, we really want to try to use our voice. I don't know, just to be there for anybody. And we don't really like to be like preachy. It's just like we're an interracial group, as you said, but we don't really like to try to shove it down people's throats. We just, it's who we are. It's always who we've been, and we don't really think too much of it. So we just want to be like a walking example of that, you know, at our shows. And it's all sorts of people. But yeah, man, I mean, it's definitely crazy out here.
And even on the album, like, we touched on the intro track. We touched on it. We touched on just, like, all the shit that's going on in the world, but, like, it wasn't even at a time where all the stuff was happening now. Like, the stuff that's been caught on camera has been crazy shit. So, like, we touched on it. When y'all listen to Grown Pains, y'all hear that for sure.
And Philly is no stranger to crooked cops. You've dealt you guys have a reputation for having some pretty messed up police officers.
And it's just like, it's bad because we have a lot of great cops as well, and they don't really get that shine. You feel what I'm saying? So it goes hand in hand. You got good seeds and bad seeds in any aspects, all business, all walks of life. So you just got to be careful who you're really dealing with, you know?
What was it like when the two of you realized how different or where the difference was in your lives? Like the day when you walked over to his neighborhood and was like, oh my God, look at this. And the day you walked back to his and was like, oh my God, look at this. Like,
oh, that's a great question.
I would say it was a time we were in the studio and we were like still in high school, maybe 17, 18. And I think the time we noticed like the biggest difference is, you know, Moosh is like a real family guy. Like, you know, he has his kids. He's real connected with all his family, aunts and uncles. And I'm not so much like that. And then, you know, my family was lucky enough to have a little bit more money. And, you know, one time we didn't get into like an argument, but it was kind of like, I think I was trying to talk to you like, yo, I wish I had what you had. And then you said to me, like, I kind of wish I had some of what you had. So it's like, I think that's when we kind of realized back then. And like I said, when we were younger, I didn't notice a difference. We were 6 years old. But now that, like, we're grown and can understand some things, it's definitely differences, you know?
Is there anything you would trade?
Well, anything we would trade, I mean, I think it's cool that we have each other and we can kind of, like, experience a little bit of each other's lifestyles.
And
you know what I mean?
And that's one of the main things. I was just about to say that. Just like we can incorporate different things. Like, for example, you know, I have twin boys, and even him, that's giving him nephews, so he has that connection with them, and that's maybe something he's never had. Either younger people in the household, nothing like that. So it's just like, and vice versa. When I go over his house, it's all love. His mom will watch my kids back and forth, you know, and it's just like, it's super family. So whatever we need to do, we get it done.
Right.
We get it done.
Does it occur to you because I grew up around all kinds of folks.
Yeah.
My mother made it a specific point to make sure she raised me knowing that I was black in the world.
Right.
When you go out in this world, it doesn't really matter what your friends look like. You got to know that you're black.
Right.
Because things are going to happen to you that may not happen to your friends. And you got to be prepared to deal with that.
Exactly.
Do you look to instill similar lessons when it comes to your twin boys? Because growing up in a, you know, and they got a great uncle who's doing superstar stuff with their father. You guys are running the world. But they're going to have to know, and you don't want that cold dose of reality to hit them. You know, maybe they're being watched by his mom, and next thing you know, something's happening. And
it's crazy, actually. I do talk to them about that a lot. And even with them, they're half white and black themselves.
Oh, man.
So it's just like,
it's
that fine line.
Was it like, this wasn't somebody else in the family?
Nah.
How close are you? Trying to figure out where the line stops here. This wasn't like one of his aunts or something. Some distant cousin. You went to the family reunion and came up.
No connection. No.
Barbecue or something.
I just need to know, bro.
At the family reunion, man. I had to slide, but
making sure it wasn't the alley-oop of the highest order.
Nah, he didn't throw me no oops. But yeah, it's just like I have to instill that in them, and even it's different even with them. So they're with their mom, it's a whole different life than with me. You know, because like I'm the black side of the family, I guess. How weird that sounds,
Yes.
but you know,
You
it's
can't tell?
definitely weird. It's definitely weird, but I still both sides, you know. But I tell them all the time, you got to move a certain way, and even them, they're lucky enough to be twins. They got to protect each other at all times, you know. And we lead a perfect example of that. Like, I think one thing that we preach to people as well is just like family and loyalty. Like, you know, I believe that he'll take a bullet for me. I do the same for him. We do this. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the one thing like I try to instill with them every day, you know.
And you're in a privileged position to see a lot of things that most people wouldn't see. Being this close to a black family, a black father, two black sons, like you can see the inside of things that are talked about in the press that maybe somebody that looks like you wouldn't believe just because they never saw it before.
For sure.
I was just having this conversation not too long ago. I was like, when you talk about white privilege, you have to understand most of these people are good people. We're talking to them about issues they don't know exist.
Just not aware of.
Yeah,
right.
For sure. And on the album, on the first track, 2 a.m. in Philly, like you said, we recorded at a time when, you know, it's been some of these bad incidents the past couple of years, but I had these lines that I said, I'm on this Chinatown bus, I got this duffel bag full of work, cocky with the flow, I could pass, but I pull it first. This shit is crazy, the world that we live in is fucked up. These cops asking questions, checking and shooting bullets first. You mean to tell me that we different because my skin's white? Put this on my life. That's my brother. Fuck the skin type. See, I don't see a difference. I was raised a little different because of pigment that would only give me 5 and he would get life.
Yeah.
And
you feel what I'm
it's
saying?
like,
yeah.
I wanted to address my white privilege. You know, like we say, we don't try to like, it's not this big thing where every song it's like, man, I'm white, he's black, but it's the reality of it.
It's a walking example. It's a walking
We've been
example.
in situations when we were on tour and we got pulled over for something and they tried to say our old DJ who's black had a gun and he didn't have a gun, and me and our tour manager at the time who's white, he got us out of it because he could talk to the cop and maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we were in Milwaukee, they didn't know what was going on. So it's like
exactly.
that was the time when
middle
we
of the night.
we were on the road, that shit's dangerous, and you know, if we didn't get to make this music and travel, you're right, I probably want to have experienced these things or seen them firsthand. And just being from Philly and living in New York, you know what I mean? Like, we were all types of people, especially in this music shit. So it's kind of just like, I think it's our responsibility to try to address some things here and there.
Definitely.
You know?
Without beating people in the head over
Exactly.
it. Because at
Right.
the end of the day, you got to be entertaining. You got to make
Exactly.
music, and you got to.
Right.
So,